Hi all, this is a quick video on the Chapter 12 Wiley Plus assignment. Two questions. This is actually my second try at it. As we'll see, the first question was giving me grief, so hopefully by me having grief and sorting it out, I'll save you some. The first question is a goodwill calculation. So these will all look pretty similar. It's either going to give us a list of assets and liabilities we acquired, or it's going to give us financial statements of a company whose business we acquired. So there's the values. So a couple things to remember out here. The common shares and the retained earnings we will not enter. We are just recording assets and liabilities, and we are recording them at fair value. So, the cash and the land the cash is fine, but if we look at the note underneath, it says we agree that the land is undervalued by 41.1. So when I record the land, I'm going to record it 41.1 higher than what's recorded there. And the business equipment is overvalued by 11.9, so I'm going to reduce the business equipment by the 11.9. And I do need to record the 383 I paid. So I was trying to do this, and I was running into problems. And I was just going through the financial statements, grabbing all what I thought were the right things. And I found that Wiley is very fussy with some account names. It's not called copyrights, it's called intangible assets copyrights. And it's also fussy in that it wants all the assets first and then the liabilities. So I had done goodwill last, but I had to do it here. And then the other one, although in the financials it calls it long-term notes payable, the correct title is just notes payable. And you see I've thrown in a couple of amounts here. I've got the cash off of the books, the first line. I've got the land at its proper value. I added the 41.1, and I've got the cash I paid. The 383 is the last line, and I'm hoping now if I look that works. Okay, and so you just have to do the amounts, do a little bit of calculations. Again, the goodwill amount is whatever you need to balance the entry. You paid $383,000 for a bunch of assets and liabilities. You record the assets and liabilities at what their fair value is. Anything that's left over to make it balance is goodwill. We'll do a couple questions in class. It's probably a pretty fair guess there'll be a question like that on the exam. Oops. Next. This is a question that gives students grief. And I think it's more the setup. It's a little different than when I do an exam, but I think it's a good exercise to go through just to identify stuff. It says we set up a single account for all intangible assets. Here's all the entries that we've recorded. Prepare the necessary entry to clear the intangible asset account and set up separate accounts for the distinct types of intangibles. So what they're saying we want to do here, 1357200. I want to empty that account because they're saying that we need to, we need to take everything that's in there and put it where it belongs. So all I've done so far is taken that 1357, and then I want to go through these items and record them where they belong. So the first one's obviously going to be intangible assets, patent. Costs for new ways to apply the patent that was purchased on January 2nd. I think that's probably research expense. Purchased goodwill, indefinite life. That's an expense. That's an interesting one. I'm not sure what we'd call it. I might have to go look at a solution. Franchise we bought. Promotional cost, that's an expense. Payment for copyright. That'd be an intangible asset copyright. Same with the trademark, same with the customer list. And then research costs would be an expense. So I think you need to add all the expenses, record them, and then, record each of the assets separately. So I'm just going to save you guys some grief, and let's go look at the accounts that they used. Oh, they did record goodwill. I guess I took it that they didn't purchase a business, but I guess that's what they meant by that. So you see we have research and development expense, and we have advertising expense for the promotion. So these are the accounts you're going to want to name. You're just going to have to pull the values out of your question. So hopefully that saves you a bunch of grief on that question. It's really about identifying what's an asset and what's an expense, and just some terminology. Good luck. Send me a message if you have any questions.